Easter egg for season 9.
Yeah.
Hello, guys. Hello. Welcome to Casa interview. Thank you guys for make this interview with us and you that you are seeing us right now. If you want to help the Casa hit the like button, share this video, and if you are not subscribed, subscribe. Okay? Thank you. And in the description below, you can see a lot of links that will help us during the way. And if you are not like, I don't want to do that now, but I want to talk to you during the chat, the premiere view video, you can do a super chat. It's fine by me too. Okay? So I'm here with Lincoln and Nikki from Game Night. Welcome, guys.
Hello, how you doing?
I'm fine. It's a pleasure to talk to you.
Same here.
If you don't know Lincoln and Nikki, they are from the show Game Night from the channel Board Game Geek. How are you doing?
We're doing well. Keeping busy.
Yes, very.
I have to say that Game Nights and Watch It Play It were the shows that keep me going through the whole hobby. Your way to like make a gameplay like we are at the table with you. It's very very good the way that you did. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thanks. We love doing it that way. That was really the idea, is that we wanted you to feel like you were there.
Right.
As easily as possible for us, because it's technically it's challenging and we don't move the cameras, but it would be fun if we could, but it'd be much, much more complicated. What were you going to say, Nick?
No,
just that.
Basically.
What is your role in the Board Game Geek company?
Nikki doesn't work for BGG, but I work for BGG. I'm the director of media. So I'm producing shows. We're trying to put together more and more stuff. There was a big push to do that starting last year. And then, of course, COVID. And so none of that really happened. We did get Candace's show off the ground, which we'd been planning on doing for a while. And we have a couple of shows with the Brothers Murph. We started some stuff before at the end of 2019 and then continued with that, and it expanded a little bit. We're trying to get more folks and stuff like that. We would like to do more. It's just a lot of it was involving, people to people filming, and it was just the two of us in our house the whole time. So
right.
We do have my mom here back there napping, but she's staying with us right now. But normally she doesn't. Yeah, it's been crazy. So now that we were all vaccinated, we actually debuted our first episode with everybody last week. And that was really fun. It was great to have 4 people at the table again, which was, yes.
We were all just so happy.
And you, Nikki, what do you do?
I do a lot of things in the board game industry. Right now I'm working with Hachette Board Games US, which brings a bunch of the French publishers mostly to the US. So I do promotion and social media for them for the games that we carry.
How the Game Night came to life?
Okay. Well, Scott saw our group, Aldi from Board Game Geek. He's the owner of BGG. He saw our group and asked us in 2011, I think. I know it was 2011, if we would do film our group playing games. And we've said this many times, but Nikki and I were both like, who's going to want to watch people play a game for 2 hours? And
particularly us.
Exactly. And so, but we were realizing that year that we weren't playing any games. So then in April that of 2012, Tabletop came out, and Scott was very excited about that, thinking it was going to be what he wanted to see, because he actually really likes to watch video game playthroughs where they play the whole game. He likes watching that stuff. And Tabletop didn't do that. They did, theirs was more, it was professionally edited, and, yeah, exactly. It was shortened down to try to be, reasonable length, half an hour. Nikki and I talked about it, and we told Scott that we would do it. We would do the show, and, it would mean that we'd play games, because we were just so busy. We weren't even getting to play games. And at least it would force us to play games once a week or something like that. So we started doing it, and then that summer we're planning for it, shot stuff in, I think, September of that year. And then I was learning everything from scratch. I didn't know how to edit in Premiere. So I did all of that, and we debuted in December of 2012.
You guys, since the beginning, made a very well show. And my wife, she likes board games too, but not that much to watch a 4 hours, 3 hours, 2 hours game.
Right.
But I would.
Right.
I
Yeah.
am.
Yes.
And then this difference that you have, it's what make you are like unique. At the same time, there is the friendship and the relationship and the gameplay
Yep.
for the fullest. If you want to know if the game is good or not for you, the full playthrough is the best video, because the editing, everything, it's perfect in the editing. You don't know the real game there. So, Nikki, what was for you to shooting and do the videos?
Well, like Lincoln was saying, it was an opportunity for us to get more games, play more games, and see our friends. And it was an opportunity for me to do the intro animation, which is something I do kind of on the side. So it's always been fun to do all the different intros for all the different.
Yeah, Nikki does all the
shows.
She does all the animation mostly for all the BGG shows. Yeah, the brothers Murph are doing some stuff on there. They're learning lots of great stuff too. So they the new Best of BGG show that we're doing, Nick is doing the animation for that. But Nikki did the intro, and she always does the intros.
Candace's show and Game Night, Date Night, and then of course Game Night and 10v10 and some of all those. Yep,
there's a lot. So it's Nikki does work for BGG sort of, but not. But she's her full-time job is elsewhere. Yeah.
When they need an intro for something, I do it. But
So, what do you think about the adaptation that we have there?
Sala de Jogos! Hoje no Sala de Jogos, Ellen, tio Carlos, Denise e eu mesmo, Rafael, vamos jogar No Thanks, desenvolvido por Thorsten Gimler e trazido aqui para o Brasil pela Paper Games. Então vamos ser ingratos, mas educados.
Rafael, você poderia ensinar No Thanks?
No thanks. Não, eu não poderia deixar de
fazer a piada.
Mas vamos falar sobre No thanks.
Well, that was fun.
I loved it.
Yeah, we were talking about it. The funny thing was in my head, I thought it was
older.
And when I went and looked back, because you'd sent me the request to try to do an interview, and I'm like, oh, that's those guys. And I went and looked back in time, and then I'm like, oh, it was only 2 years ago. How crazy! Like the time is all blurred, but yeah, it was fantastic. I think we shared it when it came out, and I don't even know how we found out about it.
I sent the video to Scott, I think, in the BGG, and asked him to show to you.
Yeah.
Because I asked to please let me use the intro music, and then
that was my brother. My brother created that, so that's no big deal.
So nice.
No, yeah, we both thought it was really funny.
It was fantastic.
And I mean, it's even to this day, Lincoln and I are always surprised at people being fans of this. So when we see something like that, it's always very, very surprising.
Yeah,
It's like a reminder, like people watch.
Yes, it's always shocking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the weird feeling that, okay, that strange person, it's like, know me? Why?
Yeah.
And
Everybody feel, you're watching, it's like you're watching your friends, and that's everybody knows us. So it's actually pretty great. So we meet people at conventions and stuff, and it's always very great because they know us already. It's pretty fun.
But that was always the point of the show. And so it works. When we go to conventions, like Lincoln just said, I'll be walking from the booth because I don't work in the BGG booth. I'm always working with the company. I am the board game company I happen to be working for that year.
Right.
And I'll be walking to get a soda or something, and someone will just say hi to me like they know me. And it's always, wait. And then they apologize. Sorry, I feel like I know you. Da, da, da. I'm like, oh, it's fine. It's fine. But yeah, it's nice that people feel that way towards us. It's great.
We've had lots of feedback that, that it's helped people start their own game nights, and it's gotten couples together to play games.
Yeah.
But we often have comments that my wife plays games because Nikki was in the show, right? She saw that Nikki was enjoying the games. I mean, Nikki's a crazier gamer than I am. She really loves games. I do too, but I mean, she's always ready to play games.
I am always. But yeah, I've gotten some women thanking me for being a board gamer and making them feel comfortable about wanting to play board games with other people and learning board games. So that was surprising. I guess I just, being in my own little world, never felt that other women felt that way about board games. So, because I've always just played board games and never thought about it. So that it's really cool when I hear those kind of stories too, because I didn't start to be that person.
Sure.
the representation in the
Yeah.
and you talk about the excuse with the game night to play more board games, but how how you guys choose the board game for the show?
So it really is what we're excited about. Whatever we get the word of that we're interested in, we try to get it. We mostly buy the games ourselves. But Scott is really, Aldi is the real best information for like what games we should play. He pays way more attention, plays more games. He generally, obviously during the lockdowns, he didn't get to play as much, but he plays most every weekend, and they go for like 12 hours. So they really play games, and he's always like, this is a great game, you should check it out. We'll probably do the Marvel United game soon, and I backed out on Kickstarter, of course, all money. And I was going to be good and not back exactly. I was not going to back the full-on X-Men, and they sent out the pledge manager, and I just did it all. I'm crazy. But I had started painting the minis. We're streaming, Scott, Aldi and I are both painting the minis on live stream, and I was having real fun. I really liked the minis. So I was like, what the heck, I'll just get them all.
It's like, no, just this one and this one and this one.
Oh, I know.
I'm crying about The Witcher because I don't have the money to The Witcher.
Yeah, the Marvel United was crazy expensive too. I don't know. I looked again, I think last night, at what I spent added on. I'm like, oh my gosh. The other thing is Dave and Aaron and others will suggest games that they want to play. Rusty has brought games to play, and anything that people are, it's most, because we want to enjoy the games. We don't really want to focus on anything that we did not enjoy. And so,
we avoid the negative.
Yeah, we've had a couple episodes that didn't work out. I don't mind, one or two people not having a problem with it. But if we all don't like the game, it's not worth putting it out. There's no reason, because we're not having fun. I mean, the whole point is we're supposed to be having fun. Sometimes, you don't have fun, whatever, that's fine. But as long as we're mostly having a good time, then it's great. Because that's the deal. It needs to be entertaining to watch. I mean, I know a lot of people like it for information, and they are a little bit dismissive because we don't focus on any bad games. But and then they also say Aaron's telling the truth, and I, like he's more truthful, and I'm like, well, that's not true. Aaron is a different gamer than the rest of us.
Yeah.
He is a much more serious and deeper gamer. We like those too, but Dave and Nikki and I are all very similar in our tastes. We like a lot of games more midweight as our common play type stuff, and then lightweight stuff. But we like to play the big, heavier games when it's a convention. We really love those when we have time to sit down and spend 5 or 6 hours on a game. That's fantastic. We just don't do that regularly. And so Aaron, I can't even think of one, but there's one game we didn't do with him because he just does not like it. He's like, I don't like that game. I'm like, wow, you don't like that game? I mean, I know what game it is. I will not say it. But it's a very, very popular game, and he didn't want to do it. So we did it with somebody else later on.
I guess the main thing is we want constructive criticism.
Yeah.
Not just this game's terrible and walk away.
Yeah.
Because somebody created that game. Somebody put their heart and soul into making that game and making it happen, and to just be dismissive about it is not okay in our opinion.
And especially media celebrities, you have to know the power that you have to when you say something about the game. So it has to be very calculated to not destroy the game. And
right. Well, that's why we don't do games. Here's the deal. Games that may not be interesting to me are interesting to others. I mean, I know this. I know for a fact there's many games like that, and my tastes have evolved over time. But I also work for Board Game Geek, so we want to promote the hobby. Like as we say, our show is basically the love letter to the hobby that we don't pay, we don't charge to do the games on the show. We do take submissions. If they think it's going to be good for the show, I'm like, do you think it? Because we don't see everything, right? Even Scott, who looks at everything, still doesn't see all the games. And so publishers sometimes think that might work for the show. And we would love to do that if it does work. But again, I always tell them we can't promise that it will become an episode, because if we don't enjoy the game, it won't be an episode. It won't do you any good, because we're not here to slam on the games at all. Again, different tastes, no problem. But generally we want it to be positive. And I encourage everybody to tell the truth. I'm like, just tell us what you think. It's not a problem. Really try to match the gamers to the game. So that's one reason it's nice to have a pool of people to play with us so that we can actually do that kind of thing.
Definitely. Because there's definitely decisions on, well, I don't think, so-and-so is going to like this game, but Rusty might like it. So let's play this one with Rusty, and let's play this one with Dave, and things like that.
It's one of the questions. It's about the cast for the table. If you are thinking first about the time schedule of the players, or thinking the game for the players. In the beginning was the same group. Then new players arrived.
So initially, obviously, it was we knew Dave. We played games with Dave all the time. We knew Aaron really well. We didn't know him really well, but we knew Aaron, and we played games with him a lot, and we knew he'd be great on the show. So we started with those 4, and then as we could, and found more people that would, because we had plenty of people that wanted to play, but schedule is an issue. We always have to think about when somebody's available. We try to save a game if we think that's going to be a good one for them. But it really is just fluid. Like whatever the situation is, what's good for someone, when we can do it. We actually have way more players than we have games to film right now. It's like, although that's only because of the situation right now. We definitely, we just sent back a bunch of games because we did all that convention coverage virtually last year. And so we sent all the bulk of the new games back to the BGG library so that they can be used for the BGG Con, which we're planning on doing in November. So, I mean, it's still not 100%, but we're heading towards doing that. And so,
What would you say, 90?
I don't know. I mean, I know in Jeff's mind, it's like 99%, but you know, there's a lot of things that could happen, and Jeff acknowledges that. So we aren't sure yet. We haven't made a solid decision yet, but the goal is to move towards that. So we don't have as many of the new games as we had hoped, but I kept some of them. We don't have Dave. Dave is up with his parents. He's taking care of them in Northern California. So not having Dave is a big deal. We really like to have Dave in the show. He's fantastic. Yeah. And he's helping his father right now. So both of those guys are taking care of their parents right now. So Deborah wants to come. She was very, very excited. We were all, when Nikki was getting her vaccination, Deborah was getting her vaccination. We were texting back and forth and getting excited about the chance to be able to play again. And we figured we'd be available to shoot middle of May. We almost made it. It was about a week and a half later that we were able to actually finally shoot. But that was because Aaron was the last of us to get fully vaccinated.
The other thing about the choices made for the games is Lincoln wants to always keep it 4-player.
Yeah.
Or
I
3,
prefer 4.
but no more than 4.
I feel that once it gets too chaotic, there's too much talking over each other. You sometimes have 5 or 6, depending on the game. And, you know, some games really need it. And then we may not do that because of that, especially lately. I mean, we've had some unfortunately released party games coming out in 2020 was a bad deal for those publishers. But
there is a question for Nikki. Nikki.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it's directly to you. Watching the show, me too. I noticed that you don't like to make moves that hurt other players, even if it is the best move in that moment. Like in the Elysium video, that you struggle to choose someone to get the take that element. Can you explain how you deal with take that elements in a game?
Yeah, generally speaking, I do not like take that. It's hard to explain. I know even if it is part of the game, generally speaking, it would be a game I would choose not to even play because it has take that in it. Wow. I've never been asked this question to explain why I have a problem with it. Because some people take it pretty badly, and I don't want to get.
Well, I don't
want to get that.
We convince her. You won't see the discussion necessarily, but sometimes we're like convincing her. You need to take that. That's the best move for you. You need to take it.
It's ridiculous. I see the looks on people's faces when I do a take that move, and I don't like it because I know that they got hurt. I know that they're not happy about it. It really bothers me.
It's funny too because we've had this conversation semi-recently because it's just me and Nikki playing games, and so Scott Aldi often watches while we film to make sure that we're keeping track of stuff. Especially when it was the two of us, it's hard. You kind of need to have more eyes on the table, making sure things are accurate. And she's like, "I don't want to do that." I'm like, "Nikki, do not worry about me. You have to do that. It is the best move for you." And it took us some convincing to get her to take the move.
It's not strangers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's like I'm hurting best friend, my partner, and
yes.
I want to win without kicking someone through the stairs. I can.
Yes.
I want to win by my merit. I understand that.
Yeah.
We had, so that's like the other thing is like we get frustrated with players that like will kick somebody when they're down, right? Like they'll take out the player that's actually struggling and they hit them, and it's like, why aren't you hitting me? I'm in the lead. You should be attacking me. It's like but I mean, sometimes that is the right choice. Strategically there might be a choice that you need to do that, but
there is games that you gain more points if you hurt someone, that is still is down because they
Yeah.
defended themselves.
Well, Nikki also doesn't like to take. I mean, I think that's one part of it that she's not saying is you don't like to take that thing on you either. I mean, it's not fun.
Well, I'll tell you why. Because I'm usually the person in last place, and then they're attacking me, and it's kind of like, why? Why aren't you going for the leader or the person in second place or the person that you'll actually
Maybe benefit close the gap.
Benefit by that move.
Yeah.
I've been, I'm sure everybody who plays board games have been in the position where, why did you do that to me? It did not gain you anything at all.
Yeah. Easy target.
You didn't move ahead. You didn't get more points.
Yeah. That's the crazy thing is when someone that doesn't change anything. I'm like, why are you doing that if you're not making a change?
I guess it's because they can.
Even if I'm the last one, because if they don't do that, I win the game. It's like, no, I'm the last place. No, don't do that, and they don't. I win.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the worst is when somebody is like, I'm losing the game, and then I'm not going to say it because I've done it too. You're like, I'm really being hammered here, right? And then it's like, then you win the game.
So I understand, Nick, and I have to say too that you guys are so polite to each other. We can see during the gameplays that you are not trying to win the game. It's like, hey, you can do that.
Yeah,
it's better for you.
Suggest turns. Yes, Dave is very good at that. And I try to do the same thing. I feel if you can point out a better play for them, it's definitely beneficial. And that's because we all know each other. None of us are really, the only time it ever gets bad is if we all know the game. That's one reason why I don't like not knowing the game. I like us asking questions of the person teaching the game because that's what the audience is going to be asking, the same questions. And so if we know the game, our heads are down, we're thinking more about our game, we're not talking, we're not joking, and it's not a good game. We've done it several times. We've replayed games, and it's not as fun. And that's part of it. It's entertainment too. We want you to learn how to game, but we also want you to enjoy watching it. So that helps make it a better experience for everybody.
I understand.
The pointing out of the better moves and the strategies is all part of teaching the game to the people that are watching.
Absolutely.
So,
although I don't know, I think our gaming is, at least with Nikki and I, our gaming is pretty much like the show.
It's pretty much the same.
Yeah, but it is really our group, and we kind of have expectations like how everybody should behave, and everybody is generally super pleasant. We've only had a couple of weird elements a few times, and you can see it in the videos. It's like, there's.
I know one episode.
Which one do you think which one is that?
Inish?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
But
I don't want to address that.
Stephanie's awesome though. She's awesome. She's just she's much, much more competitive, and Dave was not liking it. And at one point I said, I'm like, I will not bother you. I just want to get away from here. Let me move. I left that one on camera because it was true. I just wanted to move. I'm like, please let me leave. If you let me leave, I'll leave you alone. I don't care.
Way.
Yes.
And then I was thinking like, but Errol should be the player against Stephanie.
Yes.
Totally.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yep.
There was one new player that took me by surprise. It was Deborah Ann. I was like, Daredevil. Watch Daredevil. Okay. Well, I will watch Game Night. What, Deborah? Why are you doing? What? Can you explain the
how
Deborah?
that happened?
Yeah, how that happened.
So 2 years ago, just a little over 2 years ago, there was a convention here in Los Angeles called WonderCon, which is a Comic-Con convention. And our friend Kevin, who's on the show, was working for Geek and Sundry, which Deborah was doing a show for Geek and Sundry. And he's helping at the event. And he's taking Deborah and her husband around, and she's looking at him, recognizing him, and she cannot figure out where she recognizes him from. And finally it dawns on her. 2 weeks prior, she had watched us play. She was watching stuff on YouTube, and it was just a suggested video. And she watched us play Victorian Masterminds. And she got hooked, and she watched a bunch of shows. And she recognized that he was from Game Night. She's like, "Are you on Game Night?" And he's like, he freaked out because he's like, he gets recognized occasionally, but it was really, of course, freaky that Deborah recognized him.
Not a
And so he's
celebrity
like,
geek.
Yeah. He said, "You should come on the show." And she said, "Oh, okay." And then she was watching the show. She got obsessed and watched it for like a month. She wrote him a month later. She goes, were you serious about me being on the show? He goes, "Absolutely." So it took us a little bit of finagling of schedules. I don't like to be pushy about anybody, like come be on the show. So I'm always like, when you have time, let's try to work something out. And she came, and then she had been really watching all the shows in that time frame. So she was actually going backwards, watching the new shows and then going and watching all the old shows back to the beginning. And she's just amazing. She's just totally like us. She's fun, and she has a big taste for a lot of different games. And her tastes are growing. Like, I feel some games we played, she wouldn't play. One example, she said in an interview a friend of ours did, I don't think that's out yet, but she said one of her favorite games was Hadara. And I wanted her to play that game. I wanted her to I thought, this is a great, deeper game that she would enjoy. Plus, Wingspan was the other one we wanted to do. And now it's one of her favorite games, right? She likes the challenge and the puzzle of those kinds of things. And her tastes have gotten more broad as she's gone along too. But yeah, it's just been great. Deborah's really fun. She's a really nice person, and
she's really a D&D person.
Yeah,
actually,
and creates her own campaigns. Yeah, that's what she did for.
That was where she started, and I think she was watching something like that, and then got the suggestion to watch a game night
on YouTube. Yeah,
and that got her into getting slightly interested in board games.
Yeah. It was pretty great. And her husband had to convince her to actually ask us. She said on one of our videos, she goes, "It's the only time I've ever used my celebrity to get something I wanted." And I was like, well, you could have asked us, no problem. Don't worry about it.
A waste of your celebrity there.
And another thing is very, very cool about your show too, that you're not addressing her like, the celebrity Deborah Ann is here to us. She did that, and that.
Yeah,
and
we
that.
don't.
No, it was like another friend.
Yeah. That's what we've always. We did announce one time, I think, that when we had Brian Yu on for his game, Geister, Schachzugmeister, or Ghost Fighting Treasure Hunters. We did say, hey, it's Brian Yu, the designer of the game. But generally, I think it's kind of gross when people make a big deal of someone, because we had Rich Summer on, because he's a local gamer that we played games with, and we love him, and he's a really sweet and funny guy. And I just want it just to be Rich. I just want it to be Deborah. We now do we do use I asked her if she wanted it. We put our Twitter on there, and so it has her full name on there. But we're not in that place yet. I don't think we'd ever get there where somebody would come on to promote something else. Yeah. Although Aaron may be one of those guys. He's a writer, and he's been working on books, and he's talking about. I'm like, we'll absolutely share your share when you have your book come out. For sure. But it's just not that kind of show. It really is our friends, and Deborah is now one of our friends, and we love having her over. She's great.
And then the isolation came. How was it to you in the beginning? How has it been?
Well, initially, so we had done an episode for Clank Legacy with Deborah and Dave, and the plan was we'd already started doing live streaming in January. We did a very, very big puzzle hunt type game called the Wilson Wolf Affair, and I think that took us like 4 sessions of 4 every other week sessions of like 3 or 4 hours each. And one time we actually continued after Deborah had to go.
Yeah.
And then she got word that she didn't have to go. So she came back in, and we were like trying to like organize stuff for another hour. We were like just reading things, getting prepared for the next time we would go. And we had one solution like that we were like, oh, we're going to have to show people that we figured out. So then we were going to continue live streaming with that, Clank Legacy. Well, first Dave, the lockdown started to happen, and Dave ended up going up north before that even happened. So then we were going to play with Deborah and Aaron, and they were both open to doing it. And then as we were hearing more and more what was going on, we just shut down, and we didn't do the live stream. We were then doing live streams. Nikki and I were doing them because it was something to do, because we were both home all the time.
So we started doing a live stream Tuesday mornings and Thursday evenings
On Twitch, yeah.
Twitch. For a while.
It's just after the first year, Scott was like, it's a lot of time. So we now alternate. We do stream once a week. 1 week it'll be Tuesday, next week it'll be Thursday, and then next week it'll be Tuesday. We were thankfully had a lot of shows recorded prior to that, because I was going to be traveling a lot for BGG in 2020, and we were also talking about producing a different show that would require some changes to the studio. So we were going to build up a bunch of episodes to make it through that production schedule, and then and also allow me to travel, because I was traveling a lot, and basically once a month I was going on a trip at least. And then when the shutdown happened, we had all those episodes in the can, so we put them all out pretty much. There's still a couple that haven't actually been put out yet. And then we started doing the game night date night, which is something Nikki and I had been wanting to do for a long time, because we wanted to do 2-player games. The goal is to actually, the goal is to make that a separate show. It will be, I haven't decided yet how we're going to do it. We may, since we're not completely wide open here with isolation, we may still have a couple game night date nights interspersed. Yeah. But the goal is to try to keep game night a multiplayer, 3 to 4 player games minimum, and then have game night date night be another series that runs at a different time. And that one might be monthly or bi-weekly instead of weekly. We haven't decided yet, but all that stuff got, we had to rejigger everything, and didn't have really the opportunity to like make any serious planning. We just had to do it to make it work. And because we didn't want to stop doing game night. I mean, people really love the show and look forward to it. They don't love the 2-player games as much. Oh. Probably prefer to have just the chat at the table is better with 4. I will admit it. It's very hard. Like when I'm running the show and teaching the game and worried about everything being played correctly, it's hard. It's a lot. Yeah. It's a lot more. Like the fact that I can even play a game when I'm worried about technological stuff. Because when we were doing the loop this last weekend, that was this episode this week, we were having audio problems. I hadn't had to deal with 4 people in the room with audio. And so I'm having audio problems, and I'm looking away and fixing things and trying not to touch the cameras and all this stuff as we're getting rolling. Yeah, fixing the hair. And so it was crazy. And so that was because I'm always monitoring the audio. Yeah. I have the earplugs into the mixer so I can hear what's happening. And so if I hear something wrong, I have to deal with it without interrupting the flow of things.
But with the live streaming, it gave us an opportunity to talk and meet with fans and audience members.
Absolutely.
We tried to play a bunch of roll and writes so the audience could participate.
And other games people could, yeah.
Other games that people could participate in. And it was an interesting
experiment in terror.
We played a little You Don't Know Jack and things where audience members could
join us,
and we got a lot of good feedback on doing that, because a lot of other people, of course, were stuck at home and craving some sort of interaction with other people. So it kind of grew a little bit with viewerships. Then we started asking game designers to come on as a guests, and some game of the promoter types and stuff, and they play games with us or just supervise our playing of the games. It was much looser, but it was really interesting to do those live streams during this lockdown.
For sure.
We learned a lot of different things and tried a bunch of different things that we probably wouldn't have tried if it was business as usual. So
we did shoot one game night with Dave at the beginning of April. We did paleo, and we wore masks. Yeah, because Nikki wasn't vaxxed yet, and Dave was taking care of his older parents. So people were kind of giving us some flack for that, and it was kind of frustrating because like it's you don't really know the situation, right? We actually next week's episodes will all be with masks because we're playing with Tashi, and she's 7 years old and she's not vaccinated, so it's gonna. And we wanted to play with Tashi. She's great, and it was fun to do the kids games with her and Brian. So. It'll be 4 videos with masks on, but most of the time it won't be. I mean, it might still be though. There might be people that aren't comfortable with it. We absolutely left last weekend open to if anybody wanted to wear masks, we would do it because we know we're fully vaxxed, but you never know. Somebody might not feel comfortable about it all. So
one question is like the studio is in your house, so it's always prepared to shoot, or you have to remove everything. It's like
no, it's always. So we used to shoot, as you know, in our early episodes, right over here, and we did the first 2 seasons in here, and then we decided that we were tired of tripping over light stands and stuff like that, so we were going to convert this one space into a studio where the lighting is mounted up above. There's nothing on the floor. We do have a tripod that we use for the intros that's in the way, but everything else is mounted, and so. That right hand, that's the reason why Nikki and I sit where we sit, is there's a bunch of technology on the end of that table. And now with the live streaming, we now have 3 computers over there. I mean, stuff we never had. And then we have our control room has the computer that runs the live stream machine. So we use 4 computers to do the
live streaming.
Yeah. Is that right? 1, 2.
I don't know.
Maybe it's just 3, but it's still a lot. It's too much stuff. And then tablets, we have tablets all over the place, and to control cameras and stuff like that. So it's a lot of stuff.
But it's always set up, and it's also where we keep the majority of our game collection too.
How is the dynamics in your house? It's like game night every night?
No. Yeah, my mom has been visiting with us because she hurt herself, and so I said you get to see how it works with Nikki and I, because we're sitting at my desk, and right over here is Nikki's desk, and we are both working all the time. There's like lots to do, so it's mostly trying to get stuff done.
Work, eat, sleep.
That's pretty much it. It's pretty bad, and then some gaming.
I have one more question here. Is what's your favorite game?
Your favorite game? Well, I mean, mine is always changing. I'm terrible about those lists. When we did our 2007 our top games 2007 and before episode, which was a really great episode, it was challenging because we were told 10 games. I worked out on it with Dave. We had decided how we were going to do it. And then, of course, I think I brought 17 or 16 games on my list. And here's the other ones I want to mention. But it's always changing. But like my favorite probably all-time game is Wyatt Earp from Richard Borg and Mike Fitzgerald. But I mean, I love Ticket to Ride. I love Catan, all those ones that got us started. Catan was a huge deal for us. It was the one that really clicked because we actually had a gaming group prior to when we started our game group in 2002. It was the same folks, but what happened was we started playing games, and then we got wrapped up in LAN gaming. We played computer games where we all had our computers all hooked up here at the house. I had seen Catan before, but as I said before, it's like it was a weird looking game. The US version was weird, and it was expensive, so I didn't buy it. One of our friends in the video gaming group that was part of that gaming group brought it and played it, showed us how to play the game, and we were like freaked out. We immediately played it twice, and that started the journey because I found BGG that night, I believe. Like right now, I love Marvel United. I love Glow or Lure from Bombix. Fantastic game. I want to play it more a lot. We were actually discussing maybe playing it with 4 on the show.
That would be good.
I don't know. What's your favorite? Nikki always has the same kind of thing, though.
The same. Picking a favorite game has to do with the mood I'm in.
Sure.
I always say Alhambra. I love Alhambra. I will always play that game if someone asks. But I do love Wyatt Earp because I love playing Wyatt Earp with Lincoln and Dave. That's like our thing. And then I love Vinci. I love Vinci. And that's an older game. I don't even think you can get it because it turned into Small World, but I like Vinci better than Small World. I'm probably one of the few people that do. But those are always the games that I say when I'm asked this question. But there's new games that I really like to play too. Like you just said, Glow. I would love to play Glow again. I would love to play Paleo again. I really enjoyed that.
And Clank Legacy and all those things we want to continue with. It's someday we'll get to all that.
And sometimes I'm really in the mood for a party game. I wouldn't put a party game on my favorites list, but I'll play just one if someone asks,
The enjoyable list.
Yeah.
And season 9 is up. And it was very daring to hear Lincoln say to Aaron, long time no see. It was, I think that that many comments in the video, but I felt that phrase.
Hey, Aaron. Hey, Lincoln. Long time no see. Yeah, how's it going? I'm really glad that you're here.
To you, how was the feeling in that moment? Aaron responds like Aaron, but
yes.
To you.
Yeah, it was awesome to look at. I mean, I was looking across the table and seeing their face, the full face. I'd seen Aaron. We had him over in November for BGG Con. I don't know what we called it. It was Virtual Gaming Con in May, but I don't know what we ended up calling it. It might have been just BGG Con online or something.
But we had him in the house.
We had him in the house, and we were in the studio. And so
we kept
we were separate. And so I didn't really get to see him. And then, but it was the first time we'd seen him with both of them. I mean, when Deborah came, there's one point in the video, I don't know if you see it, but Deborah and I turned to each other, like laughing and smiling, and I was just like marveling at her smile. Like it was, I couldn't even believe it. I'm just looking at her smile. It was so bizarre. But it was like, wow, I'm actually seeing, people's faces. It was awesome.
It was a little tear.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Right now he's getting a little teary. It was just.
Don't worry, me too.
I mean, I'm not a hugger at all, but when we were done and Aaron was leaving, I'm like, I have to hug you. It's just hugging another person. It was just great.
Yeah, it was pretty great.
Wonderful.
It was very, very delightful to see, and the passion that you have, not only for board games, but for the people around the table. And
they're our friends, you know what I mean? It's pretty great.
And I want to say thank you for having the time to make this interview with us. And if you want to say something for your Brazilian fans, now it's the time.
Well, thanks for watching us, but make sure you check out Casa Nerd LOL because they do some fun stuff. And make sure you watch the no thanks video. It's as soon as when I was looking through the list, I couldn't remember what video it was. But when I saw it with no thanks, I'm like, oh, that was it. And it was immediate. And I played it, clicked play, and there it was. It was playing our music. It was awesome.
And caring about watching a video in English.
I know, seriously.
Yeah.
So guys, thank you so much. And for you that you watch during the premiere video, thank you for watching. Hit the like button, share this video, and subscribe. Thank you so much, Lincoln, Nikki. See you in the game night.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us on, Raphael. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.